Started with Islam Makhachev reacts to Ilia Topuria being ranked #1 pound for pound. Yesterday, Islam Makhachev was in attendance for the Whittaker and RDR fight in Abu Dhabi. And before we continue, make sure to leave a like on the video to help support the channel. And during the event, the UFC interviewed Makhachev. When he was asked about his thoughts on Ilia Topuria being ranked #1 pound for pound, Makhachev said the following: "Well, it's marketing. They're doing it on purpose to promote this fight. People are already interested in it. So they do it right, and we'll be fighting for the #1 spot in the rankings." So it looks like Makhachev is still interested in a fight with Ilia Topuria, and if Islam comes out victorious against JDM, he will certainly be ranked #1 again. As for Makhachev's next fight against JDM, he revealed that his fight will most likely happen this coming November. He said the following: "We already have an agreement of 90%, probably in November. Who do you see winning this fight, Makhachev or JDM? Let us know in the comments below." Arman Tsarukyan challenges Ilia Topuria for $500,000 bet. Recently, we've been reporting this ongoing saga in the lightweight division between Ilia Topuria and Arman Tsarukyan. For those of you who need a refresher, after winning the lightweight title, Topuria has been constantly shutting down the fight with Arman. You may wonder why. Well, Topuria's reasoning is how Arman handled the Islam Makhachev situation. Topuria is saying that because Arman has already pulled out of a championship fight, he doesn't feel confident fighting him. First of all, who gives a f about him? It's kinda weird, but if you pull out a day before, you gotta fight someone else. Like I was at that fight too, and I was so pumped for that fight. And then the day before, he pulled out, and everyone's like, bro. And for no reason. Yeah, for no reason. If you really have a serious reason, I don't know, something doesn't. How could it happen? But you break your hand, you like, I don't know, something like that. Me? I would go even like that inside the octagon. Topuria has also said things like he'll vacate the lightweight title before giving the chance to Arman. Well, during a recent interview, Arman Tsarukyan has proposed a $500,000 bet in order to entice Ilia Topuria to accept the fight. This is what Arman had to say during an appearance on the Overdogs podcast with Mike Perry. So no big bets from your own pockets. No, I can put the bets. I can put like a $500,000 if he beat me. If I beat him, he's gonna give me for $500,000. So I can put it that. Okay, so he's gonna make handshake bet if he wants to make that. So I'm down, and we can shake hand fight. If I lose, I'll give him $500,000. If I beat him, he's gonna give me $500,000. Do you think Ilia Topuria will accept this offer from Arman? Also, for those who don't know, Arman is rich, so this $500,000 bet could be 100% legit. Weirdly, Mr. Muscle Mike himself decided to chime in on Ilia Topuria not wanting to fight Arman by saying he's a quote nothing burger. Chandler said the following about Ilia not wanting to fight Arman: "Definitely not scared. Nobody wants that nothing burger of a fight, especially not the champ. Ilia realizes we're in the attention business. Nobody pays attention to that other guy." While we're talking about Arman Tsarukyan, Paddy Pimblett was featured on One with the one and only Adam Catterall. Paddy came out and said he is not interested in a fight with Arman, and he'd prefer fighting, quote, legend Justin Gaethje. This is what Paddy had to say. There are other contenders as well. While you having conversation with the UFC about maybe a Gaethje fight, or maybe a Tsarukyan fight at you, and I should know I'm not asking them. Arman's a very good fighter, but no one cares about him. No, the man, see what this law haven't they, yeah. You Chelsea fight in Islam. It's all a big game, but you don't at all. But everyone knows Justin Gaethje's a fun gun. Oh, everyone knows that if fighting Justin Gaethje, you're gonna have a fight. So, I need a legend. Or I mean, Arman isn't. So I'd love to fight another legend than just be Gaethje. Well, it looks like no one is interested in fighting Arman at the moment. Daniel Rubenstein, who's Arman's manager, reacted to the Paddy clip by saying, translation, "I lose to Arman. I think I can beat Gaethje. Who do you want to see Arman fight next? Let us know in the comments below." UFC fight updates. Following the UFC Abu Dhabi card, let's take a look at some UFC fight updates. First, we got an update from Khabib Nurmagomedov about Umar's next UFC fight. Khabib went on Instagram and reacted to an image of him and Umar with the following caption in Russian, which was translated using Instagram. "Main event of the evening, 5 rounds, it's time to come back, Junior." So it looks like we're getting Umar in a 5-rounder, but the big question is, who? Earlier this year, Peter Yan and Umar were interested in fighting each other, but Umar was dealing with a hand injury at the time. But with Peter Yan winning at UFC Abu Dhabi, the UFC can easily set up this fight. Umar's manager Ali Abdelaziz reacted to Damon Martin's tweet about Umar versus Yan following UFC Abu Dhabi by saying yes to the post. However, during his post-fight presser, Yan revealed he's not interested in a fight with Umar. Then there's also the possibility of Sean O'Malley stepping in to fight Umar, which could easily be a title eliminator. Then there's UFC fighter Vinicius Oliveira, who reacted to Khabib's comments about Umar fighting 5 rounds by saying, "I say what? LOL. Someone needs to control the emotion a bit more. Before fighting in a 5 rounds, someone needs to knock me down in 3 rounds without being put down and knocked out. October is coming, and I'm excited to fight away from home." However, recent reports started circulating from Magic MMA bets that Umar Nurmagomedov versus Mario Bautista is in the works. Take this with a grain of salt because nothing is confirmed, but Magic MMA bets has revealed some fights in the past that turned out to be true. Who do you want to see Umar fight next in the 5-rounder? Let us know in the comments below. Moving on, we have Dan Hooker making his call out for a fight. For those who don't remember, Dan Hooker was scheduled to fight Justin Gaethje at UFC 313, but Dan had to pull out due to a hand injury. Since then, Dan Hooker has yet to fight in the UFC. Well, recently he went on X and called out, quote, Charlie Olives by saying, "Someone wake up Charlie Olives, tell him we're fighting in November." While a Dan Hooker versus Charles Oliveira fight is interesting, Dan also threw out another name into the mix. On a side note, Armin's a and he can get it too, Daddy's home. So yeah, with Armin and Dan Hooker's recent feud on social media these past few months, we could see these two end up fighting each other. Also, with the current champion Ilia Topuria saying that he does not want to fight Armin, it looks like Armin will need a win or two to convince Topuria to fight him. Now, we've got some huge news that dropped during yesterday's UFC broadcast. It was revealed that we finally got a UFC 319 co-main. The broadcast team revealed that Lerone Murphy will fight Aaron Pico as the co-main event to Khamzat Chimaev versus Dricus du Plessis. With the co-main now finally announced, what are your thoughts on the UFC 319 card? Let us know in the comments. Daniel Cormier responds to Jon Jones' comment. Recently, Daniel Cormier and Jon Jones have been going back and forth after Cormier slid a slight diss to Jon during the UFC 319 weigh-in show when he was asked if he could fight someone anywhere and anytime. Who would it be? DC responded to the question by saying, "I kind of want the ability to him, so I'd like to do it at my house." They couldn't really do anything. Paul Felder joked and asked if the name of the person rhymed with Mon Moans, and DC laughed it off and said, "I don't dislike Jon Jones, I think he's fine." But Jon didn't seem to think so, taking to Instagram and commenting on the clip by saying, "Could you imagine getting your kicked for the 3rd time in front of the wife and kids?" Jon then fired off 2 tweets directed at DC, writing, "DC said he wants to me at his house. I already buried him twice in the octagon, 3rd time I'm bringing a shovel." He also tweeted saying, "A blind man can see the mansion I own in Daniel's head. I just didn't realize how deep his hate still runs. Those weapons must have left more than bruises. I feel like I'm the most painful thing that ever happened to that man's life. Emotional damage." But now, DC has responded to Jon Jones in a YouTube video where he addressed his comments and told Jon that he can't say that he's got emotional damage from their fights when he's gone through real pain like losing a child or his father being. He also clarified and said, while the losses did hurt at the time, that's 8 years ago, and he's not stuck on the past anymore. Here's the clip. "Yeah, it did suck to lose. I can admit that. My man, it sucked to lose. And it hurt a lot more in 2017. Nothing hurt today. That's 8 years past. I'm not stuck on that. Also, you can't say that you're the most painful thing that's happened in a person's life when they've lost a child. That's the craziest thing in the world. You say I'm the most painful thing that's happened in a person's life when they've lost a child or their father got." But again, he knows that. But that's why you know you're dealing with a different type of human being. It does seem like the old rivalry days are over for DC, and he's past his losses to Jon, but there are times when he sneak disses Jon, and Jon just sees everything. Cormier then went out to tell Jon to get off his pages and stop watching everything he does. It's somebody. Tell Jon Jones, get off my page, man. Like, hey, what is he doing? Watching what I do? Come on, Jon. Do you think that DC is over the feud between himself and Jon Jones? Or do you think it's impossible to bury the hatchet between the two? Let us know your thoughts in the comments below. What's next for Sharon Magomedov after UFC Abu Dhabi? Sharon Magomedov came back to another victory after he had his first career loss to Michael Page back in February of this year. He won by outstriking Marc-Andre Barriault with 65% significant strikes landed over 3 rounds. With this victory, his record stands at an impressive 16-1 as a professional, with 6 of its fights being in the UFC. There's still gaps in this game which Marc-Andre caught and smashed Shara's nose at the end of the 2nd round, which almost got him the finish. This gap could possibly hinder his hype train, with the UFC cautious, and if they want to make Shara a star, another unranked fight is probably what will happen next. So it is possible we'll see a fight against Mansour Abdul Malik next. as his record is 8 wins, no losses, and 1 draw against Cody Brundage, which he initially won but was overturned by the Georgia Commission. Mansour fought a good fight against Cody Brundage, and on top of that, has gotten a finish in all of his other fights so far in the UFC, so a matchup against Shera and Mansour is definitely a possibility next. Shera will also most likely receive a medical suspension after his bout yesterday, with his nose being shattered and visibly pushed to the side. We probably won't see him fighting again in 2025. This could cause some problems for Dana White, who has always had Shera fight on the UFC events that take place in the Middle East. And considering the UFC are scheduled to go back for another event on October 25th this year, it looks like that won't be happening for Shera this time. Ben Askren provides another update on his condition. A few weeks ago, Ben Askren underwent a successful double lung transplant after he was diagnosed with staph infection and pneumonia, which ultimately made him lose the ability to breathe with his own lungs. Now, just a few weeks later, and still down over 35 pounds since his sickness began, Ben is optimistic about his new life and wants to continue to improve and get better day by day. He also mentioned that he still can't walk on his own right now and he needs a walker to get around. Here's the clip. What's up, guys? Update number 5. Been home for 4 days now. It's awesome. Sleep in my own bed, eat my own food, hang out with my family. It's great. That being said, I still have so many physical challenges to deal with. I'm still down about 35 pounds from where it should be. I gotta walk with a hug. I can't walk. Can't walk. This 5-pound weight, this is actually our harsh knee to curl, right? And, right before I had to go to the hospital, like in his video right here, I was still at Stronghouse by curling like 45 pounds. Something like that, and Devon was into walk rails, popping up doing hill sprints. And so, we go back to the Sanka paradox I was talking about. I am where I am right now. But I'm gonna do somewhere different in life. I'm gonna off and get better. And so why can't you too? What are you waiting for, right? There's barely anyone in the world that's out in the low physical condition as me right now. I give him a walk with his own walk right and do a 5-pound curl. It's pathetic. I totally understand that. But doesn't matter where I'm starting. I'm gonna finish somewhere different. And so some of you guys who aren't getting started, get your butt moving. Get started. Hey, I got a long way to go. Maybe you do too. Let's make it happen. It's very sad to see someone who is so physically fit become so weak as he struggled to lift a 5-pound dumbbell. It's also important to mention that Ben had no shirt on, which showed off his physique, where you can also see the scarring from the procedures he's gone through. Nonetheless though, we are hopeful that Ben will recover fully and things will be much brighter in the near future for the former UFC star. What's next for Reinier de Ridder following UFC win? Yesterday afternoon, the MMA community got to witness Robert Whittaker versus Reinier de Ridder. The fight delivered, to say the least. RDR landed some lethal knees to the body. In the third round, Robert Whittaker was so close to knocking out RDR with an overhand right, but the bout ultimately went to the scorecards. RDR won with a split decision and is now on a 4-0 run in the UFC. De Ridder was not too happy with the split decision because he had this to say during his post-fight press conference. I was surprised that one judge scored it like completely wrong. I thought I had 3 rounds at least, but yeah, it is what it is. I shouldn't. I hoped to finish him and I didn't. So you never know what the judges make of it. But I'll be sure to finish the next guy again. But at least the last 2 rounds right, maybe the second as well. I got on top a couple times. I hurt him a couple times with the knee, but this guy is a tough guy. With a win over Bo Nickel earlier this year, and now Robert Whittaker, who's ranked number 6 in the welterweight division, many people in the MMA community want to see RDR fight Israel Adesanya next. As for RDR, he's predicting that the UFC will give him the winner of Hamza versus DDP. See what happens. There's a lot going on in the middleweight division in the next couple of weeks. As you said, I'm a top 5 fighter in the world, man. That's crazy. And who can say that? And in 1 year, by the way. In 1 year, yeah, I'm Moose. And, I think I have a good chance fighting for a title someday soon, so we'll see. If all of a sudden UFC tells you, do you want to be a backup fighter for the championship fight, would you consider, if once I hear this, I'm gonna take a full day in the ice bath, recover from this, get into hyperbaric the next day, and then I'll be ready to go. So, there you have it. We could easily see RDR step in as the backup for the UFC 319 main event. Who do you want to see RDR fight next? MMA community calls out Reinier de Ridder for cheating, while RDR got the unanimous decision win over Whittaker. During the fight, Whittaker hit RDR with a big right hand that dropped him to the canvas. Rob went in for the ground and pound, and de Ridder seemed to grab Whittaker's gloves multiple times to keep him from getting hit with more strikes from above. There was even a moment when Whittaker looked at the referee and asked about his gloves being held, and the ref told RDR to let go. Fans were quick to call out RDR in the comments for cheating, stating that the rules don't allow you to grab an opponent's gloves. In the UFC, grabbing an opponent's gloves to control their movements is illegal, but the fighters can grab an opponent's hand as long as it's not the glove's material. That being said, this is what the MMA community had to say about RDR. RDR was cheating here like crazy. He kept holding Whittaker's gloves. Bruh, all RDR did was clinch like a after getting dropped and grab his gloves. Cheating, dog. Bro, the cheating needs to be checked in this sport. In a possible finish sequence, RDR was holding gloves. Doesn't help he started cheating and holding Rob's gloves when he was down. How many times did RDR hook the gloves? 3 different times at least. Really don't want to rewatch that fight. Don't get me wrong, RDR pretty much optimized his win condition. Rob didn't slash, he's kind of washed. Those knees are beautiful, but come on, cheating should just be called out at the very least, right? Do you not think a point deduction for grabbing Rob's gloves during the finishing sequence was necessary there? Pretty much stopped all momentum. If RDR wasn't putting his fingers in Whittaker's gloves when he nearly got KO'd, it would have been over. Cheat, but next UFC Golden Boy, they need him to be undefeated. Wrong decision. Also fuming with the repeated glove grabbing. Not being deducted a point, Whittaker would have finished RDR if he didn't cheat. What do you think? Did RDR illegally grab Whittaker's gloves during the exchange?